A former classmate of Brett Kavanaugh's has decided to come forward with a story involving Kavanaugh and an individual that he engaged in a bar fight with. Now, this is a Yale student, former Yale student, who did not want to initially come forward, but he says that after hearing Kavanaugh minimize his drinking habits and his behavior when he was a college student, he felt that he needed to share the details of this story with the public. So his name is Charles Ludigan, and he was a former Yale University basketball player. And he is scheduled to meet with the FBI and talk about what he knows. And he will discuss Kavanaugh's alleged role in instigating a bar fight more than 3 decades ago. Now, he did speak to Chris Cuomo on CNN. And so I don't want to put words in his mouth. Let's hear what he has to say about this bar fight.
Chris Dudley and Brett Kavanaugh and I went to a UB40 concert. They were a popular reggae band of the 1980s. So after the concert, we went to a bar called Demery's, and we were drinking, and I assumed beer, but at some point we looked over at this fellow who looked very similar to the lead singer of UB40, a guy named Ali Campbell. Well, he saw us looking at him and didn't like the fact that we were looking at them. So he said something like, what the hell are you looking at? And I said, oh, we just thought you were the lead singer of UB40. And he said something fairly aggressive, frankly, I'm not, and screw off, or something to that degree. At that point, Brett took umbrage at this and threw his beer at the guy. I actually now found out from the report that it wasn't beer, that I had misremembered. It was ice cubes and whatever the drink was that he was drinking. And well, the fellow, says, yeah, Brett said, you, or something to that effect, and threw the ice at the guy. And the guy, understandably, even though he had been aggressive in his response, found that was a little one step too far. So he took a swing at Brett, and then they were kind of, two guys fighting. That was all very quick. And then at that point, Chris Dudley, who had his drink in his hand, proceeded to smash it up against the guy's head.
I'm gonna just make Cuomo's face every time you talk from now on. Anyway.
So he did accidentally curse on air, by the way. Part of the reason for Cuomo's face. But to be fair, he had that face throughout. All right, so to the substance. Now, look, guys, if you're wondering why are we talking about this bar fight from when they were in college, there's a really good reason why. And a lot of people are gonna get misled because there's a lot of propaganda out there. They'll be like, oh, they're judging the guy for a fight he got into when he was in college. No, we're not. No, we're not. I've gotten into bar fights. And was it over stupid stuff like that? Yes. When is a bar fight over something intelligent? Right?
Just a quick side note. Don't call women, and I know you don't, but don't call women overly emotional and irrational ever again. Like, women don't engage in random bar fights, ever. Well, maybe sometimes they do.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah,
but guys do more.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
And we do get a little emotional when somebody says screw off or whatever, right?
It's so ridiculous.
I know, it's so silly, but we were all kids, we were all young, we all had a lot of testosterone, et cetera, right? So that's not the issue, guys. The issue is that Kavanaugh is a weird liar. He keeps saying, look, I never drank to excess. Look, I didn't even drink till I was 22, but if you ask me, did you ever drink too much? The answer is, hell yes, I've drank too much on many occasions, right? I remember after the bar exam, leaning over a gutter. I mean, I can give you 1,000 examples, so can you, right? But this guy, nope, he literally said that he was a choir boy in the Fox News interview, and that actually set off some of his classmates. They're like, you were a choir boy? Dude, that guy, Chad Luddington, that you just saw, was one of his friends. They went to the concert together. They apparently drank some red wine together. I got that from a viewer. Okay. Hey, here's looking at you, liberal mom. Okay. And so they were all fighting. Chris Dudley's a former NBA player. And Dudley's like, yeah, no, everything was fine. Brett never drank to excess. And Chad, the guy you just saw, he's like, I'm done with Chris too. He's like, what are you lying for? Of course we drank too much.
Look, the reason why Kavanaugh's lying about drinking too much is because he doesn't want anyone to make the argument that he could have done what he was accused of doing after blacking out while drunk, right? And so that's why he minimizes his drinking. But we now know, based on the accounts of several people who went to school with him, that he did drink, he drank a lot. And by the way, I don't think it's a small thing to throw a cup of ice at someone. The police report indicates that the individual that he threw the ice at was bleeding. Okay, so that's assault. Anyone else, you're talking about, and by the way, obviously he's not facing a criminal investigation for that, but it's not just a small thing. It shows that his behavior when he was younger is not how he described it during his hearing.
Okay, I'm super biased because I've thrown things at people.
Well, you shouldn't have. You shouldn't have.
Right.
And honestly, if you were, up for a lifetime appointment as a Supreme Court justice, even you, someone I know personally and I admire quite a bit, I would be like, no, homeboy's lying. I don't know why he's doing it.
No, but I wouldn't lie about it.
Right.
I mean, that's why I just told you right now. So at my Supreme Court hearings, you will see this tape, and I won't lie about it. Okay. Anyway, to be fair to Kavanaugh, the guy didn't get cut from the ice. So he throws the ice at him, then they get into a fight. Then his buddy Chris Dudley, who's the star basketball player at Yale at the time, comes into the fight, takes a glass and smashes it against the guy's face.
Jeez.
The guy's bleeding from that. Dudley's hand got cut and was also bleeding, and they were worried about his career. And maybe it did affect his career, and that's why he sucks for all those years. Anyone who is a basketball fan knows that Chris Dudley was paid more to suck than anyone in NBA history. Okay, so anyway, that's a random note. So bottom line is, you could easily say all these things, and I've drank to excess on occasions, and I never blacked out. So you can say, hey, okay, I drank plenty, but I never blacked out. It's not that hard. But his instinct, his go-to move, Kavanaugh, in almost every one of these stories is lie first, pretend you're a super choir boy. All I ever did was work out and have beers. And my daddy, it was one of the funnier parts. I thought his dad was dead. Okay, the way that he was speaking about his dad, did you see that? He's like, my daddy used to take good notes. I love my dad. I was like, I got all worked up. I got a little emotional at that. I talked about it on day one. And it turns out I wasn't alone. Everybody assumed his dad was dead. No, his dad was right behind him.
Kavanaugh's dad?
Yeah, Kavanaugh's dad is not dead. He was right behind him in the hearings.
He loves his dad.
No, loving your dad, that's a great thing. That's why, there was a part of that opening statement that I empathized with and that I made clear on day one. But this is now 18 lies too many. And there's another Yale classmate, Richard Uygur, who's like, him, a choir boy? No. He's like, look, we went to Deke, and Deke was also a party frat at my school, and he's like, we drank heavily. Pretending that we didn't drink heavily is insanity. I don't know why he's lying about that. I know. On the go? Don't worry, we got you covered. You can still listen to TYT at our new podcast network. Find us on Apple Podcasts, the Google Play Store, or at tyt.com/podcast.